Hello everyone, welcome back to the Human Reviews channel, and today, ladies and gentlemen, today we are listening to Cutouts by The Smile. Today is like the craziest day for music this year. We have new Smile, we have Jordy Greep's debut album, and we have Godspeed You Black Emperor, all dropping on the same day. That is nuts. Like, I love Black Midi. I've loved the single. Well, I only heard Holy Holy. That's the only single I heard off the Jordy Greep. I love that. Godspeed are like one of the best post-rock bands ever. And then The Smile put out just earlier this year one of my favorite albums of the year, and now they're dropping again. And the fact that we're getting two Smile albums in a year, when Radiohead don't drop in almost a decade, feels a little bit like a punch in the face, but also I kind of don't care because that Smile album from earlier this year was peak. This album is 10 tracks, 44 minutes. It's not too long. I have heard 4 of the singles. I've heard Foreign Spies. I've heard Zero Sum. I've heard Don't Get Me Started. And then I heard the one that leaked the other day I listened to the leak on Reddit. I think it was No Words, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong, but I think that was it. And I've enjoyed all of the singles. Zero Sum was easily the strongest of the bunch. Zero Sum is just a fantastic, jazzy, funky track that I found myself absolutely loving. And the others I thought were good. No Words was another one that I thought was great. And then the other two I was just sort of like, yeah, they're okay. I'm going into this expecting to pull a couple of tracks out that I think are great. And the others, I'm just going to be like, okay, they're decent enough. Because I do know this album is essentially a B-sides collection. This is the Smiles Amnesiac, basically. Where it's just like stuff that didn't make it onto Light for Attracting Attention and Wall of Eyes. Yeah, this is essentially just a B-sides album. So I'm not going in expecting it to be like 10 out of 10s across the board. I'm not expecting it to quite live up to Wall of Eyes or anything like that. But I'm going in with decently high expectations, wanting to pull at least a handful of tracks that I end up coming back to. With that being said, I am just going to get straight into this. Track 1, Foreign Spies. It isn't a B-sides album. It's confusing. There's an entire Reddit post going over it. On a second listen, I'm liking this a lot more. I'm loving the atmosphere of this track. Like Amnesiac, this is a album of material from the same sessions as the previous albums. Okay, so it is still like leftovers then. It is essentially like the Smiles Amnesiac. And like Amnesiac, I'm expecting this to be a good mixed bag. That's what I think of Amnesiac as. It's a good album, but a mixed bag overall. And I'm fine with that. For an album of leftovers, for it to be a good mixed bag, that's not bad. I'd say that's great, in fact. That's like all I could really ask for from a bunch of leftovers. On a second listen, I am enjoying this track more than I did originally. I know I liked the song at first, but on a second listen, the atmosphere of this song is amazing. These electronics sound fantastic. I do still stand by what I said, that this feels more like it could be a Thom Yorke solo effort than a 3-piece band in The Smile with Thom Yorke and Jonny Greenwood in it. It does feel more like a Thom Yorke solo piece, but it's a pretty good Thom Yorke solo piece, to be honest. The new sound menu, Cry Tears of Joy, because it was so good. That's probably the one I'm most excited for, to be honest. Entire album's really messy. Not only does the genre deviate a lot, song quality is also quite hit or miss. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm expecting there. Yeah, Foreign Spies, it's grown on me a little bit. I will say I'm not a fan of the second half of the song, because it just, once it goes into that repetition, it really does start to lose me a little bit. I feel like it just sort of meanders around the same idea a little bit too much, and it feels like the song could have been cut down by like a minute or so. But I still think it has a fantastic atmosphere. I think that Thom Yorke's vocals on that song are some of the best I've heard out of The Smile. I love just how I guess, somber, but also scared. His vocal performances on that track. It sort of sounds like he's cowering in the corner from something. And it's a song talking about like some spies. Maybe it's meant to sound like he's hiding from something or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I think the vocals on that track are fantastic. It's just that the pacing of the song kind of stinks, and I really don't like the repetition in the second half. But all in all, I still think it's a good song and a pretty solid way to open an album as well. I would give it like a 7.7, 7.8. It's good. It's a strong track. Next up, we have Instant Psalm. The song started off really interesting. I think that the strings at the very beginning was sort of setting up a very interesting tone for this track, and then the acoustic guitar and the drums came in, and that was pretty cool. But these vocals and the vocal effect are not good. They really cheapen the sound of this. They just sort of feel like it's like being taken from an entirely different song and being put in here. They really don't fit, like, at all. Yeah, even the instrumental here feels like it's completely falling apart. Nothing feels like it's tying together. Every single element of this song feels like it's being taken from a different song and all being sort of, like, forced together. Like, trying to like force jigsaw pieces to go together when they're like not even the right shape in the right spot, you know what I'm saying? If this was maybe rearranged a bit, it would be able to create an actual complete picture, but as it is, this just doesn't come together at all. Like, I don't even know which of the two albums this would fit on. It doesn't sound like it would fit on Light for Attracting Attention, but it also doesn't sound like it would fit on Wall of Eyes either. Either. Like, it just is such an awkward blend. All of the individual elements are great. Like, these strings are amazing, the drums are incredibly recorded. I think that the acoustic guitar on its own sounds very interesting and sort of has a certain, like, it has a certain eeriness and offness that I feel like on its own works really well. But the combination of these elements is terrible. They don't feel balanced, they don't feel like they fit together at all. I feel like even just the placement in the mix of all of these things is so awkward. And then you have the vocals on this song that I really just don't like. It's not bad, necessarily. I wouldn't say it's terrible. Again, there are moments where I was locked in with the song, and there were moments where I could sort of see the bigger picture, but just as a whole, it felt a little awkward. It's like a flat 5 for me. It's not a bad track, necessarily. It just feels like it needed to be rearranged a bit to be able to, you know, fully reach what it was going for. Zero Sum up next. I've already heard this one. This song's very good. Does it want to play? There we go. So it's pretty clear that this song was meant to be on Light for Attracting Attention. Like, that's obviously where this song is meant to be. And I don't know why this wasn't included on the album, to be honest. This would fit perfectly. This would even be one of the better songs on that album. I have no clue why this wouldn't be included. Like, I'm thinking of other tracks on there, like You Will Never Work in Television Again, and then also, I'm forgetting the name of the other song, the one where he's talking about going down a rabbit hole or something. This feels like it would fit perfectly among those tracks, but I don't know. It feels like it genuinely would be one of the best songs on that album. It's just confusing to me why it wasn't included. Logic is releasing a funk album in a month? That sounds terrible. Better side project, Smile or Gorillaz, easily. Both of them have reached the point where they don't feel like side projects. Like, Gorillaz is its own thing. And the smile, with a light for attracting attention, it felt like a side project, but Wall of Eyes made it feel like its own thing. But of the two, Gorillaz have, they have Demon Days, they have Plastic Beach, they have Song Machine. The stuff I've heard off of their self-titled has been great. And while I love Wall of Eyes, A Light for Attracting Attention is just kind of okay. And up to this point, this album is also just kind of okay. One good track, one mid track, and one great track. So yeah, I would say Gorillaz as a whole, I prefer. The Smile over Radiohead. Interesting. Yeah, this is easily, out of the songs I've heard off of this album, my favorite. Like, by a landslide. It's so jazzy, it's so funky, there's so much pop to this song, it's catchy as hell, the drums are so sporadic, the guitars are just insanely creative, Thom Yorke's vocal performance is infectious as hell. That song's, it's a fantastic song. It would genuinely be one of the better songs on A Light for Attracting Attention for me. And it kind of baffles me that it wasn't included on that album. I would genuinely give that song a flat 9. It's great. It's actually a fantastic song. The biggest day for music. I wouldn't quite say the biggest day for music ever. It's the biggest day this year. Next track we have Colors Fly. Ooh. We getting an Eastern influence song? Okay, it's just in 5. I thought it was switching time signatures, no, it's just in 5. You can change your mind. Okay, the song does a great job of building tension, but the structure of this is a little flimsy. Like, it sort of feels like it's bouncing between each section at a very, like, awkward pace. It really just feels like the song doesn't know where to go all that much, and it's just sort of like, okay, we're gonna do this, then we're gonna do this, then we're gonna do this, and it doesn't feel like it has any rhyme or reason. But the actual sound of this song is fantastic, and again, it does an incredible job at building tension, to the point where I don't really mind the messy structure of the track. Let me get the positives out of the way for this song first. Drumming on this song, incredible. Seriously, Tom Skinner was going crazy with the drums on this track. The Eastern influences as well are implemented fantastically on that song. I also think that this song is just a masterclass in a great tension build with fantastic release afterwards. This song nails that perfectly. But oh man, the structure of this song is rough. Seriously, like, the placement of everything is awkward as hell. It just sort of feels like it's bouncing between lots of different ideas without having any real through line, and it makes the song feel a little bit awkward as a whole. So, for that reason, this song gets another high 7. It's like a 7.9, literally just below an 8. Next track we have Eyes and Mouth. Okay, we're getting more funky guitars. Put the sunglasses on again. The sunglasses are only on for special occasions, okay? The sunglasses only go on when a song is absolute heat. No bass on this one. It really is just guitar, piano, drums, and some cool backing effects. No bass on this one. Interesting. I think this song is fantastic so far. This is just another super funky cut. Fantastic riff. Drums are energetic as hell as always. The nice little piano stabs in there are really cool as well. And Thom Yorke's vocals on this one are going crazy. I love the layering of the vocals as well. You got the higher pitched vocal take over here and then lower pitch down here. Who composes the music? I think Jonny Greenwood does most of the composition. Introduces the bass as soon as I say that, yeah. Biggest year for music? 1997 was like a crazy year. 91's a big year for music as well. 69 was a big year for music as well. I don't know, there's lots of crazy years for music. Like, these songs are surprisingly catchy. Nice, that was another great song. Just another super funky, Very silly track, catchy, expressive. Thom Yorke giving one of his most unique vocal performances on any Smile track on that one. That was just another fun-ass track. I'm much preferring when they're leaning more into the more rock elements and they're making tracks that are more fast-paced, more hooky. That is what is appealing to me the most right now with this album. Yeah, Zero Summon Eyes of Mouth are both tracks that do that basically perfectly. This one's like a solid 8 for me, 8.5, 8.6. Really strong track. Worst year for music in my opinion? I don't know. I don't feel like there's been any particular like in terms of like entire years, like bad years for music necessarily. Next up we have Don't Get Me Started. Does it want to play? Hello? There we go. It's the second time that's happened where it just doesn't want to play. Like, I click space to continue playing, and Spotify's like, nah. My favorite decade for music? Probably the 90s. Most of my favorite stuff that I've heard came out in the 90s. The 2000s as well was just crazy. Oh yeah, this song's nearly 6 minutes. Yeah, JC. Yeah, 1720s. How could I forget about the 1720s? My favorite decade in music. This song really picks up when the drums kick in. The first like 2 minutes of this song, and then you get the drums come in, and it picks up. Cool vocal effect, I'll give it that, but the just general atmosphere of this track is just providing nothing. Song is providing literally nothing. Like, the electronics sound, like, dated as hell, and this came out today. Literally, this song came out today. The progression of this track is way too slow and way too boring as well. And also, it just doesn't warrant its runtime. It really does not call for 6 minutes, but it does it anyway. Yeah, I've heard this song before, yeah. I meant to say the album came out today. It does kind of pick up as it progresses, though. Like, once they start adding more layers onto this, it does start to show how interesting of a track it could be. Is the album good? It's decent so far. 2 great tracks, 2 good tracks, 1 mid-track. It's kind of the level I expected it to be. You know, it really is the Smiles Amnesiac. Absolutely, yes. At 100% I want to do a Hendrix reaction at some point. Like, this bit here, it's so spacious. There is so much life to this section, you know what I'm saying? The vocal effects actually feel like they have impact on this song at this point. The synths matched with the piano here actually work really well. Thom Yorke singing on this song is also really, really strong. Don't Get Me Started is a very mixed bag of a track, and I'm pretty sure that's exactly how I felt when I first heard it. A lot of these songs that I'm not too crazy on just feel like they could be Thom Yorke solo tracks. This feels like a collection of Thom Yorke solo works with a handful of the Smile tracks added in there, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. Like, the progression of that song isn't interesting. It doesn't feel like the pieces connect in any meaningful way. But there are sections of the track that are genuinely fantastic. When the drums come in and all of the layers start piling on top of each other, it feels overwhelming in a really great way. You get to that final section of the song where everything cuts out, and it's just Thom Yorke and the synths. That works fantastically. I think that section is great. But the song is too long, it takes too long to get to anything interesting, and it just really feels like a slog to get through. And I feel like even the payoffs aren't enough of a payoff to warrant sitting through the more boring sections. So for that reason, this song gets a high 5 for me. It's like a 5.8 or a 5.9. Favorite film soundtrack album? Purple Rain. Easily. Purple Rain is a 10 out of 10. Easy. Actually flawless album. So good. Next up we have Tiptoe. Have we decided if they should break up yet? What the smile? I don't know. I mean, this is just a collection of leftovers. This is like the Smiles Amnesiac. You know. Okay, jump scared by the strings. If them breaking up means new Radiohead, then maybe. But until we get announcements for new Radiohead, I'm fine with The Smile. Sounds like a song in Finding Dory. Hey. It's actually pretty. I actually like this. Tom York's the same age as your man. How old's Tom York now? Is he 56? I know he's in his mid-50s. You saw him in Bangkok in the 90s? I need to see Radiohead live. Or The Smile live, either of them. Okay, this song is really wearing on me. It really is not doing anything. New Coldplay is art pop, so it's a must listen. I mean, it literally has the word art in it. It must be good. This arrangement really feels like a Moonshaped Pool. The string arrangements literally sound they're ripped straight out of like Glass Eyes or something. Which, I love a Moonshaped Pool, and I don't love this. Yeah, that song started off really strong. I feel like the Johnny Greenwood string arrangement on that track is fantastic. I think that, at the very beginning, Tom York mentioned his voice with the piano was really nice as well, but the song just kind of doesn't really go anywhere. Sounds like when Tom York did a film soundtrack album, yeah. I don't know, man, it just sort of feels like it just doesn't go anywhere. Sort of stays in the same place, doing the same thing for 3.5 minutes. And while it's fine, it sounds sweet enough, it sort of feels like it's trying to recreate some of that, like, a Moonshaped Pool effect, and it just isn't doing it anywhere near as well. Like, I have no reason to come back to that song as opposed to, like, a Glass Eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like it's very similar to Glass Eyes, and Glass Eyes is, like, a practically flawless track. So, for that reason, I'm feeling a flat 6. It's an okay song. It's fine. I just feel like it could have really been brought up a lot by maybe exploring the sound a little bit more. Next up we have The Slip. Yeah, Confidenza. Was that the one that he put out earlier this year? So I think I listened to that on stream, didn't I? When it was just kind of okay. A black hole at the center of the galaxy. As a node, as a nail, as a node. One more step to find just free. Sid sounds like ass. These drums sound amazing, but man, the synths on this song suck. Okay, introducing the guitars was a nice touch. The song really sort of like set into motion once those guitars came in. One of my biggest questions I have about this album right now is what is up with these song lengths? None of these songs feel like they warrant the amount of time that they're given. Like, I wish Zero Sum was a bit longer, and I wish a song like The Slip was like a minute shorter. This does not feel like it warrants 4.5 minutes. The song was so up and down. Tom Skinner is carrying this album, I will say. Tom Skinner, his drums, his blending of jazz and rock drumming is fantastic. Straight up. And the recording of the drums is incredible. Did Nigel Godrich produce this? Oh no, Sam Betts Davies, he did Wall of Ice. Okay. Yeah, Tom Skinner really is carrying this album. The drums on every song, where there has been acoustic drums, have been fantastic. But this song is just such a cluttered mess. The synths sound terrible. The structure of this song doesn't make sense. The way it keeps going back and forth. How do I put it? It basically just feels like it's towing a line between good and bad. It will step on the good side for a minute, then it'll step on the bad side for a minute, then it'll step on the good side for a minute, and it'll step on the bad side for a minute. And it's just doing that over and over again. And it doesn't come together in the slightest. Like, straight up. This song it's just confusing. The good parts were fantastic. Like, when the guitars came in, the song really, really set itself in motion. But the bad parts are, like, the worst this album has been up to this point. So for that reason, this song gets another flat 5. Is Wall of Eyes a lot? Oh, Wall of Eyes is amazing. Wall of Eyes is one of my favorite albums of the year, and it came out in January as well. It was like one of the first albums that came out, and it's like one of my favorites still. It's like a solid 9 for me. Well, a flat 9. Next up we have No Words. I think this is the leaked song that I listened to on stream the other day, right? Because if so, the song's great. Sounds like they're on autopilot. Yeah, it's like a collection of interesting experiments. Some work and some really don't. See, now this song though bass line is immaculate. Drums are nailed on this one again. Yeah, basically on every song they are. I love how tight the snare sounds. Oh yeah, this song has like an incredible vocal performance. Like seriously, I don't know why, but this is like one of my favorite Thom Yorke vocal performances. Like he did not need to go this hard with this song, but he really does. Radiohead might be the only time he's a great singer. I don't know, I feel like he has some really great vocal performances on The Smile. Even on some like Atoms for Peace songs as well, I really like his vocals. Like on Before Your Very Eyes and Ingenue. I will say, he's a lot more relaxed with his vocals outside of Radiohead. With Radiohead, he's like really strongly leaning into it. But with The Smile and like his solo stuff, basically all of his side projects, he's definitely a lot more relaxed. Damn, the layering is so good. This is also the first song that I can say feels like it's the appropriate length. 4 minutes. The song feels like it warrants 4 minutes. Glazing, yeah. Yeah, that's just as good as I remember it being listening to the leak the other day. Yeah, it's funky. It's very fun. Some of the best vocals on any Smile song. Arguably one of my favorite Thom Yorke vocal performances straight up. Like, he gets very expressive on this one, and I like it a lot. It's very expressive, but also very relaxed. You can feel that he's still letting the instrumental take more focus to his vocals, but he's still adding a lot of unique flair to it that makes me really appreciate it. I also think that, pacing-wise, this is easily the best song as well. Sonically, it does kind of just feel like standard The Smile. It doesn't feel like there's instrumentally a lot that's unique about this one, but I feel like it does just generic The Smile really well. So for that reason, it gets a high 8 for me. It's like an 8.8, 8.9. Really, really solid. This one actually just keeps growing on me, honestly. Like, it's just so catchy, it has so much replay value, and it's easily my favorite off of this album. It's going to probably be like a 9.3. I have seen the Smiles Tiny Desk concert. Yeah, that one's pretty good. Got Thom Yorke wearing his fucking goofy sunglasses on that one, isn't he? Alright, last track, Body's Laughing. I know this one was released as a single, but I don't think I heard this one. Smashing Pumpkins vid was alright, though the stream... Oh yeah, the stream was a lot better. I hate YouTube. I always have to cut it down so awkwardly. Like, you're given a 7-second limit on music clips with stuff like that. Like, with the Radiohead stuff, I was able to make the videos longer, and with some artists I can do that. But with the Smashing Pumpkins, because both streams got blocked, that means I have to have each clip with music audio be 7 seconds at the max before it cuts. And it always makes the pacing feel really awkward. Oh no, the Beatles copyright is terrible. I remember I had to re-edit part 2 of my Abbey Road video. I had to, like, switch a bunch of stuff around, do a bunch of, like, different cuts and stuff like that with the second part of the Abbey Road video, because it got blocked worldwide when I tried posting it for the first time. It was a pain in the ass. This is a really pretty closer, though. This one's reminded me of Wall of Eyes. And it feels like it's on that same level of quality, like that 8, 9 out of 10 range. Like, this is just... fantastic closer. Seriously, possibly the strongest song on the... Actually, Actually, no, I do think genuinely this is the strongest song on the album. Straight up. This is just a gorgeous, really, really impactful way to close this off. Yeah, this is just a great, impactful track. A nice way of tying together the very incoherent sound of this album into actually one song that feels like a cohesive front-to-back experience. Great vocal performance. The drums are as strong as they've been on every other track. The acoustic guitar on this song is fucking gorgeous. I think that this is a well-written track as well. Easily the best written track on the entire album, in my opinion. Yeah, this one's like a 9.2 for me. Very, very, very good way of closing this. And that was Cutouts. This album is exactly what I expected it to be. It is the Smiles Amnesiac. It's a collection of leftovers from previous sessions that are a complete mixed bag, but overall it's a good experience. I came out with 4 tracks that I ended up loving, handful of tracks that I ended up liking, and some songs that are just kind of mid. There's no bad songs on here. I don't feel like there's any songs that I can say I hate or that I would never listen to again. But it's just, for the most part, this album, it just feels like worse versions of stuff that we've heard off of A Light for Attracting Attention and Wall of Eyes, and the majority of songs on here, I can see why they didn't make it onto those albums. But then there's also a song like Zero Sum or No Words, where I feel like those songs could have easily fit in on the albums they were made for. Zero Sum is obviously Light for Attracting Attention. I feel like that would have been one of the better tracks on that album as a whole. Don't know why it was left off. And No Words is probably A Light for Attracting Attention. It might be Wall of Eyes, though. And also, I feel like it could have maybe fit in if it was on A Light for Attracting Attention. So, it's interesting some of the stuff they left off, but the stuff we got here is honestly pretty good. Yeah, this is a solid album. Real quick, I'm going to add up my scores, and then I will tell you what my overall score for the album is. I am feeling a 7.3 out of 10 on this album. 7.3. It's good. It's solid. It's a decent release, but it's not one I'd come back to outside of the songs that I found myself loving. I like a song like, I don't know, Instant Psalm or Don't Get Me Started. Like, I would never see myself coming back to these songs in any real circumstances. But still, the majority of the track listing here is genuinely solid, and there is some substance to be found on a lot of the track listing. So, yeah, I would recommend giving this a listen, even if it is far from the best from The Smile. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Let me know what you thought of this album down below. Do you love it? How does it compare to the other Smile albums for you? And would you like to see The Smile continue? Let me know what other albums you'd like me to listen to down in the comments. Make sure you like and sub if you haven't. We're on our way to 2K. Links in the description to my Discord, my Album of the Year, my Twitter, and my second channel. Check those out if you haven't. And I will see you guys whenever I next stream or upload. Bye-bye.